juice. That's at the start of the cycle. But then you went too big too soon. Being the king of safe cycles, I come across so many different scenarios on a daily basis. Here's a classic example. Starting the cycle off with sus, debol, EQ and growth hormone. And after 6 weeks, switching to mast, primo and anavar. It's a pre-designed cycle based on nothing, blasting with the sus and the debol.
Run.
Like you're trying to eat dinner with 2 knives. You're stacking 2 substrates for aromatase on top of each other. They're the same thing. Plus, you're nearly on a gram of gear from day 1. I started my cycle the other day and I was already on a TRT dose. TRT, sports TRT, wing wing.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
That's suspicious.
And then I added 200 primo. So I've only actually added 200 milligrams of gear per week. We're not going up to a gram from day 1. Guys with experience will go to that peak in their cycle when all their oxidative resources are tapped out. That is the ideal time to maximize that progressive overload vector and push your boundaries. More training, more food, and of course more anabolics. However, adding an oral from the start, whether it's debol or a very common choice is anavar, it would put my body into a very toxic state and I would lose my appetite. So a big mistake is going into that cycle with a pre-designed plan that is looking pretty on paper, but in reality you won't even be getting to week 5. It's wise to remind ourselves that dosages are not static throughout the cycle. Just like training, we divide things up into blocks. This is a smart way to use performance-enhancing drugs. A cycle should be designed around someone's recovery demands, bodily functions, side effects, goals, biofeedback, body composition. Ask yourself, do you metabolize estrogen fast or slow? Are you in a hypertrophy phase or strength phase? Are you prone to holding a lot of intracellular water? And based on your profile and your blood work, do you actually need more of this compound to achieve what you want? And if you do add it into the stack that you're on, does it go well with the other drugs, or is it just going to lead to more exacerbated side effects? There are a lot of tissue selective anabolics to choose, but are you using the right one that goes well with the synergy that you've got? Like if you have Test and Deca, a good choice to add in is Primobolan. And instead of adding an oral from the very start, should you be patient and wait until you want to leverage those performance outcomes from the anavar and take it sublingually, use it at the tail end of the cycle to get through that strength plateau that you've been hitting your head on. On gear, there's a multitude of components which cannot be predetermined from the start by some website that says, this is the best muscle building stack and it was used by Arnie back in the day.
I lied.
The idea is simple. It's just to allocate certain compounds if and when they are needed. Otherwise, guys are just outright abusing things unnecessarily. If you're on a diet, does it make any sense to go from 2,000 calories one day to 4,000 calories the next day? Unless you're in an eating competition, probably not. So why would that double everything be useful if I was taking steroids? My needs will change on the cycle. The volume will go up with the intensity. The intake of food increases. My recovery will get hindered from all that progressive overload that I've been hammering myself into the ground with. And that is where androgens would then come in to help me recover quicker. We hold them until the point where we really need them. So from a zoomed out perspective, a successful and safe cycle will look like this. You've got your initial phase with the blood work and the starting doses, that gradual progression as you move through the gears on the cycle. Then you hit that peak performance stage. Calories come down and the anabolics go up to compensate for the lack of food. Then at the end, if I'm on a gram of gear, I don't just stop everything, I taper off slowly. People get emotional from the start because they run a shorter cycle and they want to rush things and get big results in 10 weeks. If someone was to stay safe on their cycle, they could run the cycle longer and that would give them better results, especially when fat loss comes into it. But it's in our nature, we as humans want to complicate things and often go too big too soon. Now, if you need help organizing a safe cycle, you can reach out to me in the description box below the video. Hit that link and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. The next video is all about a protein called SHBG. I call it buried treasure because if we don't know about this, we're essentially flushing our testosterone down the toilet. 200 primo in the right, 200 test in the left, I'm out.